Welcome to the Crypto Campfire.
Not enough leg to join the Rockettes. Too much to join the Lollipop Guild. Mitch and the Professor. Featuring special guest R.L. Bryer.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Campfire podcast. This is the Professor.
And Mitch.
And today we're going to be talking with R.L. Bryer, aka Pittsburgh Hodler. R.L. is the author of Blockchain Project Renaissance. But before we start talking to him, let's grab that crypto news from the Crypto Gent.
Thanks, Professor. Hello, Crypto Campfire listeners, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News in a Flash with the Crypto Gent. 6 major central banks are to collaborate on digital currency research. Ripple CEO hints at IPO, says more crypto firms will go public in 2020. And Bitcoin price breaks through key resistance as traders target $9,200. That's the cryptocurrency news in a flash with the Crypto Gent. And it's back to you, Professor.
Thanks a lot, Crypto Gent. So Mitch, I understand you've been hauling Christmas decorations in from the barn all day.
Yeah, well, last few hours anyways. I don't know about all day. That wouldn't be fair.
It counts. It counts.
Right, it counts.
How's that been going?
Oh, good. I got that all done, so it was a good chill day. You know, I told myself I wasn't going to work on work stuff today. So cleaned the house and went and hung out. So it was a good day.
Nice. So with the Christmas spirit in mind, are you going to be buying Christmas presents with crypto?
You know, I'm struggling with that one right now. There's going to be some gifts, yes, that I do purchase with crypto. And actually, I'll be giving crypto as a gift. So, you know, I think then, yeah, solidly, I would be using crypto for Christmas this year.
Excellent. You got to spend it. You got to use it. Get it into the ecosystem a little bit at a time.
That's right.
And I love that you're going to give away gifts in crypto. That's a good idea for stockings even. Just print out some little paper wallets and load like $5 or something on it and stick it in there.
Well, actually, I think everybody in my family, I'm gonna try and get them to download a wallet at Christmas time and then give everybody some crypto.
Now you're talking. Get them into it. Get them using it.
Yeah.
Get the app on their phone. The paper wallet, they're just going to tuck away and forget about, which is good. But at least the phone gets them in, and maybe they fall in love. You never know.
Yeah. If not, they can cash it out at a coin flip ATM near them.
There you go. You heard it here.
That's right. And they're all over the place. God, it was today, and there's got to be 15 of them around me. I love it.
Yeah, we need to get some out here in Montana. Maybe one at the college would be nice. We'll see what we can come up with, but we'd like to get a few more dots on the map in this corner of the United States. But that said, let's start talking to RL because I want to know a little bit more about the adoption side from him. I know he's super deep into crypto. He loves the shit out of Bitcoin, but I think we need to get some more backstory here. So RL, welcome to the show. What's going on, man?
Mitch, Professor, gentlemen, thank you for having me on today.
So glad to have you here.
It's our pleasure.
I also can't wait to read your book because I just learned about its existence today, and I feel terrible about that, but it's about time. I'm going to get one ordered up and give it a read for sure.
There's 2 volumes now, so I'll make sure you guys both get each of those after we're done today.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, it would. That'd be cool. Thank you.
How did you actually get into crypto? Like, what hooked you?
Oh, yeah. So in 2009, I read the white paper. I was still finishing up school in Columbus, Ohio. I went to Ohio State, and I was sitting there on the computer. I remember where I was when I honestly don't remember if it was an article or a video. I tell this story a lot, but I was sitting there with a buddy who had just come to town, moved to town back then. And he was sleeping on my futon at that point. He hadn't found a place to live yet. And he was a pretty technological guy. And I asked him if he had heard about Bitcoin, you know, because he was there when I first came across it, I think. And that was the first time I heard about Bitcoin. And then I didn't get super into it for about another year. I actually learned about Ron Paul. It was like a double conversion there at the same time almost. And he led me to Austrian economics through his speeches and stuff. He would drop a lot of, I like to call them knowledge bombs. And, through his speeches and just interviews, I learned about the Austrian School of Economics. And I started going down that rabbit hole. It was like the next rabbit hole. And, they talk about sound money and private property and all that stuff. So property rights. And that led me back to Bitcoin, because that was a pretty bleak era, I feel like, in American history. The banks and everything had just collapsed, and we were in the financial crisis then. And I was like, man, maybe this Bitcoin thing has, a lot of merit. And that led me back to it, and pretty much been hooked ever since.
So how did I understand you got your dad his first Bitcoin, or helped your dad get his first Bitcoin. Like, at what point in time did you realize that crypto was the future and you wanted to start getting your family and friends involved?
Well, when I read the white paper, a light bulb went off, but I didn't have the economic background yet to really say, this was for sure the answer. And I don't think anyone can really tell you that read the white paper 10 years ago that they knew for certain that Bitcoin was going to be the answer. So I actually started posting not long after that, in probably 2010. I was on Facebook every day, posting statuses and stuff, buy Bitcoin. And everyone was like, you're crazy. You've totally lost your mind. And including family members. I actually remember a particular family member that I had a conversation with. He said, Bitcoin will never be worth more than the US dollar. So, yeah, so it was, it wasn't received completely a message. It was, received at that point. And I had, a lot of people that thought, well, maybe I was right, but the majority, I'm not going to lie to you, they thought it was just like some nerd dream or something, at that point. So I've been working on my family for a long time, and, finally they're starting to come around and realize that, this is here for the future.
Did you ever ask him how that tasted when he ate his words?
I used to be the guy that was a little more combative, but I sort of I gave up on that. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, I deleted that Facebook account, and I just have completely surrounded myself with Austrian school people and Bitcoin people, crypto people. So I don't really even get into the the arguments with family anymore. To me, the proof is, in front of their eyes.
Right on.
I don't rub the salt in the wound too much.
Come on. You gotta rub it in a little bit.
Yeah, well, just a little bit, even if it's just a little bit of salt, just a little bit,
right.
Just enough so they can feel that sting, because it seems like it stings the other way so hard.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm going to go out of my way probably this year and make sure I wear the Bitcoin merchandise and stuff around the holidays. And everyone knows now that I've written the books and everything, and I think they the majority of them now know that I was right.
We'll have to get you a crypto Campfire T-shirt you can wear to Christmas.
Absolutely.
We'll make a custom one. We'll have a Campfire logo on the front, and on the back, it'll just be a Bitcoin logo with "I told you so" underneath it.
Yes.
or the price back in 2009 and 10 when I had that conversation, and the price now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
He'll know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Good times. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I understand, the hesitation from somebody who doesn't really understand it. But there's a certain point, some people have like this, they're like dedicated to resisting change or something, like, no, there's no way, but they won't look into it. They just refuse to accept it. And it's a confusing thing to me, because it's not just crypto. I mean, it happens with any sort of new technology or any type of big major change. But I don't know. It's a funny thing about the human psyche that I just don't quite understand, I guess.
Yeah, to me, I agree with you. It seems like you have to be like a self-learner, autodidact type person that really wants to learn, because there's so much, like, I'm still learning about Bitcoin, and I think everybody who gets into it, it's just a rabbit hole. Like, it sucks you right down that rabbit hole, and it's not obvious from the onset, to a lot of people. So that's why these sort of programs are important, like you guys do, and a lot of other podcasts and stuff. And I hope my books have helped people, to really just break it down and, make it more, simplistic, and to the, people that really don't want to spend all the time in the world that, a lot of us get hooked, and then we're just Bitcoin and crypto 24/7 or whenever we can, every leisure moment is like dedicated to it. So I think it's important that, everybody does their role in this space and tries to educate as much as possible.
Exactly. And, it's always going to go in stages too, because that's why you always have like the pioneers and then the early adopters and then the crowd that comes in after that and finally just kind of starts as the mass user base. And it's just kind of how people are. There's going to be people that don't want to learn. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about crypto to me that's so exciting that just makes me want to dig in and find all the different little rabbit holes and go learn about this and that. And it's just fascinating completely.
Yeah, I remember the first website I actually worked on in like 1999. I was like trying to teach myself how to do that. And it's just like some people just are drawn to technology and others aren't. But I think the further we get into it, the more like, obviously the interfaces and all the way down, everything's going to become a lot easier. Just like the internet and sending an email at one point, nobody knew how to do that. You see the old television clips of the anchors talking about what is the at button or what is, it's
right.
like, it's just like completely, 20 years can make a big difference. So I think in the next like decade, we're going to see like a vast number of improvements and innovations.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what the next 10, 20 years are going to look like. It's going to be insane.
Insane is a light word. I think, and I don't even think it's going to take 10 or 20 years. I can't imagine what it's going to look like in 5.
Right.
Look at what the landscape looks like today versus almost 2 years ago when I got into the space, and look how much it's changed just in these 2 years.
Right. I dug up an article I wrote in 2014, and that was the first, they were getting ready to introduce the Bitcoin bull. I think it was in Tampa, Florida. And the price was like $600 in, and I thought that was like a big deal. So it's like, who knows where we're going to be? I don't talk about price all the time, but it's almost impossible not to, because it gets people excited. And it's probably not the best thing to get people, the best way to get people in, but it's just that alone, it's like, look how far we've come just in 5 years, like you said. But there is so much utility, in my opinion. Like a lot of people, today say that they're not using it for money, but I know a lot of people that are using it for money. So it's, it's subjective, and that's where, things get their value, subjective value theory. It's like, this is what the market says it's worth today. I mean, it fluctuates a lot right now, but it's really finding where, what the value is. And as the market cap grows, that's gonna, that volatility is gonna shrink. So now's a good time to get in if you want to make, this isn't financial advice, but we're still in the early, years of this. So it's like being able to buy, Amazon or something or Berkshire Hathaway in the beginning, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is, like you said, it's gonna continue to grow in value, and eventually it will plateau, and it will just kind of level out. Maybe plateau is not the right word, but it will level out. And I think at that point you're going to see a lot more of its use once it stabilizes. However, putting it into the ecosystem, spending it, I think the biggest challenge we have right now is convincing the powers that be that we're just spending money. We're not cashing out and realizing a gain on an asset. We're using a currency. Oh, I'm sorry, that currency went up in value? Damn it. So if the American dollar went down in value, do we see a loss on that? And do we realize that in our taxes? No. If it goes up in value, do we realize the gain if the American dollar goes up in value? No. So then why should we realize the gain on 0.01 Bitcoin if it goes up to, 0.01 Bitcoin? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because it won't be long. It won't be long until Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are no longer looked at by the value of the dollar. When the dollar collapses and is actually gone, then the only thing it'll have to revert back to is its own self. So 0.1 Bitcoin will be worth 0.1 Bitcoin, period.
That'll really prove that we were right all along.
Yeah, but it's a matter of getting that mindset into people, because of reality, I don't think I'm far off with that analogy.
I think that's definitely a worry that we all should have. The United States is, just the basic, straightforward debt is over $23 trillion now. If you look at things that aren't included in that, you can make the case that it's like over $150 trillion or something insane. So, I don't know how long that can go on. I know we're the world's superpower, but it's definitely worrisome. And then you have all these places across the world that actually have it worse than us right now. So those are the places that really, I got into crypto for in the beginning. Places that you couldn't get a bank, you can't get a bank account, or I see crypto and Bitcoin in particular, specifically, and a few of the others. I like Litecoin. I think you guys are into Litecoin, right?
I'm into everything, man. I'm into crypto.
Yes, right. I'm into crypto.
Yeah. I see like a future of like 10 or 20 that are going to provide, great utility to like the globe or the world. So
sure.
So that's really the goal for me is to, all of us to spread this message as far as possible. And I'm like an eternal capitalist. So I see this as our way to like completely just, get out of these fiat currencies and these currency wars that, central banks and governments have created for us all across the world, and just, create free markets, real free markets again. Let's get people back to, producing things and consuming things that they want without other people telling them what to produce or consume. And let's do it with real money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to get your opinion on a hypothetical situation. So it's 2070, the United Nations, or whatever we're calling the centralized governmental authority around the world and maybe part of space, is issuing a blockchain, or they're creating a blockchain, and they're issuing countries their own currencies in a way that we would consider them tokens today, like Ethereum and ERC20 tokens.
Mm-hmm.
How feasible is that concept? What's the likelihood of it happening? And do you think it's a bad idea or not?
I think it's highly probable that they're going to try to do this. I wrote about it in the first book. This is really like, that's kind of how I started the book. Like we have like this pivotal moment. We're at this pivotal juncture in human history, not just American history, but human history. It's like we're heading into like a more digital era, and it's going to be the decentralized world that we hope that we can create, and then you're going to have this completely centralized world that's going to be cryptos to cameras everywhere you go, to everything that you do is just going to be completely tracked. And that's really the should be the impotence of this entire thing, is that we understand that dichotomy and make the right decision, because we could be completely enslaved or completely free, in my opinion. So I think that central banks are definitely going to go down that road. You're starting to hear more about it now, that Fed coin or whatever you want to call them. That obviously they're not probably going to call it that, but they're not going to have any. They're not going to have any utility to people like us. I mean, it's just what we're trying to avoid. Really the dollar is already digitized. They don't really print the dollars they say they print anymore. It's really just adding zeros to the end of what already exists. So exactly. For the most part. So I fear that future. I don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think it'll take 50 years or anything like that. I think we can see that in the next decade for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been working on that behind the scenes for years already. So that's definitely something that worries me. But that is another reason that I think it's so pivotal that we, the people that care about humanity, the people that care about blockchain, and a decentralized world, really just, even people that don't want to hear it, you have to just kind of try to sneak it into conversations like at the checkout line, like, you guys heard of Bitcoin? Or I know I've seen a lot of people in the crypto Campfire community. I think they're pushing the seed cards now, things like that. Getting those out to people. I think that's going to be really important.
I mean, there's so many points that you just hit on that are like so true and so concerning and so exciting, kind of like all at the same time. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that power distribution happens, where, like, let's just say between Bitcoin and whatever the US government issues as their, it's going to be the dollar, but running on a blockchain, just like it is right now, but just a different type of database, more or less. Right. But it's going to be interesting to see which route people go, whether it's the cryptocurrency side that's not controlled by the government, or whether it's the new secure dollar that's controlled by the government. there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of entities that go for that like safety net kind of thing and rock with the government side. And then I'm just interested to see what percentage of the population shifts mindsets to the other side of like, well, this is sketchy as fuck, so no thank you, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like a distinction with no difference, right? It's like digital, it's their digitized, digital centralized currency either way to me. So I hope that, nobody falls for it.
Right, that's exactly it. You got to go to that the crypto or the Bitcoin side where it's totally decentralized type of currency that doesn't have any strings attached to it by any government or any type of entity for that matter. So I think it's critical for a number of reasons, but especially when you start talking about machine-to-machine transactions and artificial intelligence working together, and the ability to have a monetary system that doesn't require that you trust any sort of centralized entity is critical. Mitch, I'll let you go. I'm rambling.
I love it. I love it when conversation just flows. I'm just trying to find the right spot to jump in at. And, when you said you were from Ohio State, I kind of got stuck on the fact that, you went to Ohio State and I'm a U of M guy. So yeah, not that I went to U of M, but I've worked at U of M for quite a long time. On campus doing a lot of construction work. So, just that rivalry between U of M and Ohio State, I think back in, what was it, 90, I want to say it was 94 or 95, I went to the big house and watched the Ohio State U of M game, and I think we won that one.
Yeah, that was the end of the Michigan era was coming. That was like the thick of it right there.
The end of the Michigan era. Those are
it was.
Those
No,
are
you're not
words
lying,
right there.
man. You're not lying.
Well, I'm in Pittsburgh now, but I grew up close to Youngstown. So Jim Tressel's near and dear to my heart. He was the Ohio State coach that pretty much shifted that rivalry and the balance into our favor. So yeah, that's funny. Coming up on that next week, so it's a good time to talk about that. Yeah,
exactly. So what advice would you give to a new crypto user right now? Someone new coming into the space. What's the one sentence that you could tell them that you feel is the best advice they could go with?
Oh, do your own research. I know that's so cliche or whatever, but it's just the truth. Like, read everything you can, listen to everything you can in your spare time, watch everything you can. It's just, dissect everything. You have to really, enrich yourself with just knowledge before you get into this space. I wouldn't advise anyone to buy any cryptocurrency until they, can explain what a blockchain is and how it works to somebody else for the most part, and why it has value. I know that's kind of a run-on sentence, but I think those are all, the most important things. You really have to just do your own research and make sure that, you're not just throwing your money out there into the wind and hoping you get into one that is trustworthy.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. For sure.
Exactly. There's so many that aren't.
Plus, it throws them into that other side of crypto too, because if you go out and try to do your own research, you're going to run into everything, right? You're gonna learn that Bitcoin isn't the only cryptocurrency. You're gonna learn how it works, why it's important, what it can do other than just money, because blockchain does not only have to apply to money, obviously. And those are all long-term type rabbit holes, but you send them in that direction, and that's where they end up. If you just say buy Bitcoin and then watch Binance, they're going to be stuck on their exchange app, and they're never going to get outside of that and see all the other stuff. So I'm kind of curious. Tell us a little bit about Crypto University and how that came to be, and how you guys are trying to help educate people in the crypto space.
Yeah, so I actually I met this guy. He bought my book. He's a friend of mine. His name's Warren. I won't put his last name out there because I don't know if he's okay with that. But yeah, we became friends, and I came on his show. I went on his show 3 months ago, maybe, or something. And we started talking, and he had already begun the work on Crypto University, and we decided to team up. So I became like a partner there and faculty member, and we're going to do our best to educate people on like these important things. Like, don't take my word for anything. That's really going to be my message. But the goal is to just collapse the learning curve for blockchain and crypto. And like we were just talking about, do your own research. But I'm gonna break down a lot of stuff on there, how blockchains work. Actually recording some videos today for that. The economic side of it, token economics, which is obviously, Austrian economics is like my passion other than crypto. So a lot of it's, rooted in the Austrian school. And then, just everything you can imagine. We're going to have like classes on Fibonacci and all that stuff and trading. I'm not a trader personally, but just, teach the basics and stuff in case people want to go down that route. We don't want to see people get ripped off or make big mistakes in any regard.
It's definitely a critical thing to put out there, even if you're not focusing on the trading aspect of it, just kind of like giving them some of the basics of things to look out for and things not to do, like go 100x on BitMEX the first time out of the gate, and just things like that can maybe save their ass from getting wrecked a little bit. They're going to have to get wrecked and learn a few times anyway, but you might be able to kind of prevent them from losing their entire life savings.
Right. You're seeing a lot of people. That's exactly what's happening to people now too, because you see a lot of the crypto videos. I think people were a little bit mistaken. Like I'm almost, there are no absolutes in this world, but I'm almost absolutely positive that we're heading, this is a bull market. And I think that started in February of this year, but it's kind of funny to watch some of these people that, people respect on here, like, backtracking now after like a $3,000 dip that, this is a bear market again. It's just humorous to me that anyone could really think that. I think that we're gonna really see some big time moves here in the next few months. But yeah, our goal is to educate on everything, not just price or anything like that. It's just we want to teach as much as possible, and I'm really interested in the history of like blockchain in itself and the people who paved the way, like Nick Szabo and all those guys too. So I'm gonna do like classes on that too, cypherpunks and all that stuff. I want to make it as I want to teach as much as possible. So I've always been interested in teaching. So this is like an opportunity for me to like run my own, help run a university. So
That's amazing, man. But I mean, I would love to hear more about blockchain research before Bitcoin even existed, because I mean, obviously it didn't just come out of nowhere, And there's such a crazy history on like decentralized payment method concepts. I mean, there's going back into the 90s, and I think it would be fascinating to learn more, because it's always good to zoom out even further and take a look at how the technology as a whole is evolving, rather than just how one particular application of that technology is evolving.
Right. There could be things that we think that we know right now that we are just not knowledgeable about. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's like you never know everything. So no matter how long, like, it's how I feel about Bitcoin and why I love it so much. Like there's always something else to learn, and I don't know if Satoshi knew everything or not. Like I don't know how anyone could have like really foreseen this space like evolving how it has. So so I'm just gonna try to document as much as I can about the past in these videos and in my books. I'm probably gonna write at least one more for now, and then I'm gonna do my best. But we all, like I said, I think we all have like a role here. Some people, you guys have a popular podcast, and other people, it's whatever they can do. Just if they don't have a lot of time, or if they don't feel like they want to get out, in front of people and make a video or a podcast, it's like, well, just pass seed cards around, or print out flyers. Just get it into the public eye more.
Seriously, that's what I love about the seed cards. Not a lot of people are comfortable getting on a video and showing their face, or have the time to sit there on Twitter and talk to people all day, or hold conversations, or go into businesses and talk about paying with crypto. A lot of people don't have the time for that, but most people have 5 seconds to drop a business card somewhere and take a picture. You don't even have to post it. The seed cards, it's nice that you can post them on the map and tweet about them, but you don't have to. They're just as effective if you don't send that tweet out, because that's just for us to see, right? Like right now, there's no reverse functionality.
Yeah, the way crypto Twitter's set up now, it's like it's become so. It's almost become like a cult in itself. Like a lot of people only want to ride or die with one coin, so people don't want to say something or even tweet anything out that could be like, it's become a little too cultish in some regards, because I think that the market should determine value. And just because you think a coin is superior to another doesn't mean that that's the only coin, or that everyone else is an idiot or whatever. So
yeah, I don't get it. I mean,
the
some of
competition is
those
good.
people like argue about coins that are not even the same use case. It's like that's not
Right,
even
yeah.
competing. It doesn't even. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like people that say Ethereum's a scam and only Bitcoin is the only legit cryptos. I just totally disagree with that.
Right. Yeah. Go issue a token on Bitcoin, please. I mean, right. It's just,
Right, yeah.
It's not what it's for. It's two different things, just like
Exactly.
you could pick any number of the utility tokens that people have latched onto as their favorite cryptocurrency. And that's all that they'll ever use. And it's like, it's a utility token. Like it's not a crypto. It's not, you don't use this as your payment method. Use it as like an intermediary into your payment method. But it's funny seeing those people arguing that one is superior to the other when they're not even competing. So I don't know. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's become like a little cult sort of thing. Like the people like take pride in being maximalists. It's just bad economic theory.
Really, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to be considered a maximalist in anything really, other than life.
Yeah, I don't either.
To me, the word maximalist means narrow-minded, maybe closed-minded. Because it's when we talked to Truth Raider, for example, he called himself I can't remember what he said, but like a maximalist that's not really a maximalist, where he thinks Bitcoin is maybe going to be the primary form of cryptocurrency as a payment method, but also understands that there's a ton of other use cases for blockchain in general, and so he's not going to write off everything else. And I can understand that, where maybe if you feel like one of your competing coins is dominant and then the rest all have their own purpose and whatever. But yeah, maximalism itself to the maximum is
a little tongue twisted there.
Maximalism to the maximum is being closed-minded, and it's not effective.
Monumentally wrong.
There we go.
Yeah, it really is,
So what do you consider the best means to acquire crypto?
Oh man, if you could do it locally, that would be ideal. But that's like, now, there are more meetups popping up. I guess you could try to do it like that, but then you gotta then you have people that could like follow you home and know you have crypto. So I guess the best way still is exchanges.
I don't know. My coin flip ATMs never followed me home.
No, that's a good one. Pending that you are in an area that has a Bitcoin ATM, I think that's probably that might be the best method now.
Exactly. But that's the thing. There's definitely not very many out there. It was in the 4 digits of how many are total deployed in the world. I think it's like 6,000 or something now.
But that's another thing, like we said a minute ago, like 5 years ago, there were probably 10.
Exactly. And so in the next 10 years are going to be insane. They're going to be everywhere,
I think so too. I think the first person that starts putting those on college campuses and figures that out is going to be very wealthy.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I think I said that at the beginning of this episode. I was thinking about doing that too, because like MSU Bozeman here in town has a bank on site, and they've got a few ATMs around campus, but it's a very tech-oriented school. There's a lot of programming and stuff. There's a good electrical engineering program. There's a good computer science program. There's a good robotics program. Some of those areas of campus might be prime and ready for a Bitcoin ATM.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the future. People walking down the street and one person knows about it and they just say, hey, this is your opportunity to buy some Bitcoin or whatever. So hopefully that just helps spread, keep spreading the virus.
Yeah, well, and it's like a psychology thing too, in a way. When right now, if you come into crypto and you're in a town where there's not an ATM, say, your ways of acquiring it all feel a little bit like way too hard, or a little bit ridiculous when you look at fees and stuff like that. And I mean, the ATM fees are also a little bit high across the board, but it's, just kind of what it is right now. There's so much risk assumed and stuff. But when you see it from that perspective, it's understandable why people are hesitant to buy crypto. But if they're walking down the hallway on campus and they see a Bitcoin ATM, it might be more tempting for them to be like, oh, well, I was looking into this and it was a little hard, or it was a little confusing, or didn't feel real like a couple of years ago, but now I see it. And that like legitimizes it for them. When they see like a real thing that some business believes is legitimate enough to put in their building. I don't know. It makes people more comfortable, and that gets them in. And that's just another way to get their foot in the door and kind of help them figure out what all this huge, massive thing is.
Well, when it's so easy to use, and like I went to a coin flip ATM today and bought some Bitcoin and bought some Litecoin, and it was just, literally took me a couple of minutes. And I guess the best part is you don't have to have a bank account. You don't have to have a debit card. You don't have to have a credit card. You can just walk up and use your phone. If you get a phone, you can use the Bitcoin ATM, period. And, you buy some crypto. How easy was that?
Yeah, it might not even be like the United States or so-called first world countries that are really the market there. Maybe the real market is places like I was talking about earlier that are still unbanked, or
right.
Venezuela or something where the currency is just completely wrecked.
Well, then you have the flip side of that. If you're hurting for cash and there's a crypto ATM around, guess what? You can cash out some crypto in about 2 minutes.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. And, there's a lot of different alternatives, a lot of different methods. It is, I would say, more expensive than maybe using gateways like Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
But, it might be a little bit of the convenience. When you balance the convenience with the price difference, yeah, it's worth it, right? Because you can just go throw a couple $100 in there, cash money, and pull out get your crypto in your wallet. It's pretty easy. What would you say your favorite personality in the crypto space is?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Who I like a lot that I don't agree with on everything politically and stuff. He's a bit of a socialist for me, but which is kind of funny for me to even like him. But is Max Kaiser? I like Max Kaiser because he's been here in the space since it began basically. I remember there's a speech I was just telling somebody to check out the other day. I was on a show. 2012, Max Kaiser did a speech in London, and it was pretty good. If you want to check that out sometime when you're not listening to this podcast. But yeah, I like Max Kaiser. He's keeps your attention, and he's a smart guy, and he also is like he's a bit like myself when he says he doesn't completely write off gold and silver. I think specie money has been money for centuries, millennia, so it's not going anywhere. But I just think that Bitcoin and a few of the other ones have superior characteristics for the most part. So yeah, I like listening to Max Kaiser take on things.
Cool. So to go kind of hand in hand with that, what exchange would you consider to be the most reputable?
Well, in the United States, I think Coinbase has kind of run away with that right now, at least in my opinion. I think they also have a pretty hefty backing. Like if you if something would happen, they're I think they have like $250,000. Whatever it is, I believe it's a pretty steep. Like if something happens on the exchange, they're going to be able to get your money. Hopefully, you would get your money back. But I wouldn't recommend anyone holding their money on an exchange. I would definitely say once you get your crypto, make sure you get it off the exchange and get it onto a hardware wallet. Or back in the early days, I'm pretty sure I was probably one of the first people to actually make a paper wallet. In maybe the first 1,000 people or something. Who knows? Nice. That's probably one of the best ways to make a paper wallet. So back those keys up. Make sure you don't have them on something that if your house catches on fire, they could burn down. I actually had somebody send me recently a product from he's in Switzerland, I think, and it's on the way. Actually, I haven't received it yet. Hopefully, it didn't get lost in the mail. He sent it like 2 weeks ago, and it actually is like a piece of metal or something where you can engrave your keys and stuff through it. He had like a battery and all this stuff. He couldn't send the battery through customs or whatever, so he had to. He told me the things I was going to need to pick up at the store. But yeah, things like that. Make sure that you don't put them somewhere where somebody could just pick them up and empty your empty the wallet into their own or whatever, you know. So, but yeah, I wouldn't keep them on an exchange, but you know, that's another thing. Wallets are becoming easier to use, and if you only have a couple $100 worth of crypto, you really could probably use like Red Wallet or BRD, something like that now. That, you know, is like open source and you can actually like trust. Just like everything else, though, make sure you do your due diligence and don't. I would YouTube 20 videos and get an open source wallet. Don't get a wallet that, you know, has been hacked or subject to hacking.
Yeah, and make sure that you use a wallet where you actually get your keys. You know, don't use a custodial wallet. And that's another thing that I would tell people coming into the space is research the difference between a custodial wallet and a non-custodial wallet and what that actually means. Yeah,
just Google Mt. Gox and then
oops.
you learn about other people's tough mistakes.
Yeah, thankfully some of these people are willing to actually tell their stories, because sometimes you need that realistic view of what really happens if you make the wrong decision or have your funds in somebody else's control, whether you know it or not.
It actually happened. One of the brutal mistakes I made was in 2010 or 11. I was just starting to acquire a little bit of crypto, and I was running a full node, and I didn't have my keys backed up, and I was just running it on a Mac Mini, and it crashed the hard drive, and they were gone. So I you know, helped everyone else's portfolio a little bit that day. I made
burned a few Bitcoins that day.
Yeah. I made everybody a little richer.
How many Bitcoins did you burn that day?
I don't know. It wasn't a lot, but it was a lot to me, you know. So
right, exactly.
Yeah, it would have been. It doesn't feel good looking back.
Any amount of Bitcoins in 2011 is a lot today.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're gone.
Exactly. I got to ask you one more question before we close up here. Where do Legos stand as a store of value compared with Bitcoin and the US dollar?
That's so funny because my somebody in my family right now was just telling me they want Legos for Christmas. I think that Legos are actually probably a pretty good store of value, probably better than fiat. But in comparison to Bitcoin, they don't quite measure up. I would say they're a little bit inferior in that regard. That's a great question.
There you go. Got them right in the middle there.
Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
But I would say hold them over fiat.
They're stackable, but that's about it.
That's true. You can stack them.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Good times.
That was stupid.
No, stack them to the ceiling and then stack up a couple $100 in ones, and we'll see which one is more valuable.
Which one falls over? Yeah, right. Oh, look at the singles crumbled.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, shit. Bro, it's been fun having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was a really good time.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's definitely a pleasure to get to know you both better. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the future.
Definitely, man. It was great chatting with you.
Definitely look forward to seeing you at the next meetup on that side of town.
Yeah, for sure. And as always, go Bucks.
I'll
go
let
Sats.
that fly.
Go
Sats.
Sats.
You gotta let me get away with that one, right? Yeah, go
I'll
Sats.
let you get away with it. You're a guest. It's all good.
Hey, you guys have a good night. Thanks a lot.
You too, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Bye.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
So, Buckeyes and all, right? Woo.
Buckeyes.
You know the candy Buckeye that's like peanut butter and coconut or something mixed in and covered in chocolate?
Yeah, it's nasty. What about it?
So in high school, Rhonda made a ton of those, shit tons. And
oh, really?
I ate way too many of those and threw up.
Oh, wait. Now I know what you're talking about.
I've never had one since because I ate way too many that day and regretted that experience miserably.
Really?
Oh, man, what a day, though. What a day. It's been a good day. It's been a busy day, but it's been a good day. We got some stuff. We had a good call this morning with Cerebro. I want to talk to RL a little bit about Crypto University and Cerebro and how we might be able to help integrate his content and get it to more users and how our users could maybe benefit from his content. So
I would agree.
Most
I would definitely, because I was thinking the same thing.
But this was a good one. I'm really looking forward to checking out his books. Actually, I legitimately didn't even know that he had written a book or two books, I guess, at this point, until I was kind of looking at his Twitter today. So I'm looking forward to that. I always like adding another thing to the bookshelf, as if I don't already have too many books I need to read. But
Heck yeah.
what do you do, right? Definitely going to add them to the collection. I recommend you guys check it out as well. It's a good start to get a background on crypto, how crypto came to be, some of the basics of the technology. So check it out. It is called Blockchain Project Renaissance. There is part 1 and part 2 now, written by R.L. Bryer.
There you go. You heard it here. Crypto Campfire. Thanks for joining tonight, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show. It's been a great week. It's been a great day. Let's see what this market's going to do, huh?
Green candles, baby. Green candles.
Green candles. Green. That's what I'm dreaming tonight. I'm dreaming about green candles.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. We hope you like the show. Get out there and support your local coin flip ATMs every chance you get. If you're going to buy crypto, you might as well throw some nasty fiat into an ATM and get it right into your wallet. No exchanges, no trades, none of that. Just make it quick, simple purchase. You're done. Pretty easy to do. Look them up. There's a lot of them around.
And if there's not one by you, find somewhere to put one. They'll get paid to put it in their business. So find somebody who's excited about that. Make it happen.
Heck yeah. Sounds good, man. So, guys, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy.
Peace.